Good day. Earlier this month, one of my longtime dreams came true, designing and directing a live collaboration with an orbiting astronaut on the International Space Station. Commander Koichi Wakata, played an ancient Japanese instrument called the sho. And I was in NASA Houston playing the violin live in synchronous with Wakata-san orbiting at 400 kilometers above the Earth. Tenri University donated the sho, and we trained Wakata-san to play this ancient instrument, and he did an amazing job with just a few days of practice in space. The Tenri Gagaku performed live in Japan in synchronous as well. And this ancient instrument, when played, it is meant to tune the cosmos. So the fact that Wakata-san was playing this instrument literally in space had great and deep meaning. It may look like I play violin, but it is actually very little of what I do. I'm a director and producer, and my relationship with astronauts actually goes quite far back. Mike Fink, a NASA astronaut who lived on the space station for over a year. When I met him, I asked him, what is it that changed when you went to space? And he replied and told me of the story of how the first time he looked out the window and saw our Earth, this living, glowing blue bubble of life in the blackness of space, he had this complete transformation the first time he saw the Earth from space. And he came back to Earth with a much greater appreciation for our planet that sustains us. And I was so inspired by Mike's story, it got me thinking, how could I bring this experience of seeing the Earth from space to those of us who cannot yet go to space? And this was the birth of Bella Gaia, which means beautiful Earth. I began taking data and static maps from UN and NASA, turning them into engaging, beautiful and immersive and emotional data visualizations. How do we deliver the message that the Earth is alive and breathing without saying a single word, without text? This is the methodology and language of Bella Gaia. Just recently, more than 50% of humans now live in cities and urban places. And how do we as a human species reconnect with the natural world?
An orange cloud formed as a result of a dust storm over the Sahara and caught up by air currents, reached the Philippines and settled there with rain. I understood that we are all sailing in the same boat.
So what you just saw is a 8-minute short sample of an 80-minute theatrical show with dancers, live musicians. It's a real spectacle, and we tour this around the world, really getting deeper into the human and nature relationship, and it tours to full dome theaters. But what's the bottom line? Is this all working? Well, several astronauts have seen Bella Gaia, and they all say it brings them right back to space. I've converted climate skeptics, and our NASA-funded education program for youth is showing some amazing results of 90% conversion, of a greater understanding of our Earth, and a more personal relationship with the Earth in their personal lives. So this nexus of art and science is extremely interesting and is really the cutting edge of evolution. And I encourage all artists and scientists to work together. And I want to thank Commander Wakata for being a part of that. So thank you all so much.